Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Matt Crehan, and I've been involved in the jail issue for quite some time, and I thought I'd bring you up to speed on what the county is up to with it. Originally, the jail was deemed to be overcrowded in the late 80s and early 90s. And I ran for county commissioner in 1990 and lost. And one of my platforms was, look, we need to do something with the overcrowding in the jail because it's not practical, it's not easy for the police to use, and there's too many people that are getting out way, way too early. After that, former Sheriff Carter filed a lawsuit against the County Board of Commissioners saying, look, something has to be done about this, and since you're not taking a leadership role on it, you're sitting on your haunches, we're going to go ahead and go to court on it. It was assigned to Judge Kalenda from Grand Rapids, and he said to the county, look, one way or the other, you're going to come up with 378 beds for this jail. So what the county board did was take the basement of the existing county building and expanded it. That holds approximately 140 prisoners. If you do the math, you've got just a little bit over 400. They usually run about 410 on average in the county jail at any one time. Now that's a pretty big jump in inmate population, 250 to 400. Well, now what they want to do is build a brand new jail, and they want it to be, first it was 600 beds, they turned it down to about 528. I don't know where they get the exact number 528, but that's what they have in mind now. Every jail proposal that they've presented, and they had a 4-day meeting, believe it or not, downtown Muskegon at the end of August, and it went into all sorts of detail about what the new jail should be, where it should be, what it should look like. All the proposals for a brand new jail have expansion space. So we're not talking 520 beds, we're talking where they can expand it over 1,000 beds. Now, contrast that to what's going on in Wayne County right now. They're building a new jail of 2,300 beds. Now, Wayne County is just a little bit bigger than Muskegon County. I see no need for us to have 1,000 beds. I don't see any need for us to have 500 beds. The other thing that they're not telling you is how they're going to pay for this. Cost estimates are anywhere from $30 to $50 million. Now, that's a wild range. They should be able to at least go ahead and narrow it a little bit better. Anybody that does any kind of budgeting knows that when you're going to project something, make an estimate, you're going to be within, don't say 5-10%, but not much more than that. Certainly not $30 to $50 million. Now, normally what they would do is they would go ahead and come to us and say, look, we want some millage to pay for this. But they've already said behind closed doors that they don't think they can pass it. So what they want to do is bond for it. We don't get to have a word as far as what our thoughts and feelings are, whether we need or want a new jail. Their attitude is, look, we're going to go sell bonds. You're going to get a new jail whether you want it or not. Once they get a new jail, and it goes to 528 beds, whether they say so or not, they're trying to hide this too, they've got to hire more guards. So at that point, they've got to have more money to do that. If you've got more inmates, you've got to feed them. If you've got more inmates, you've got more medical care. The list goes on and on and on. The bigger it gets, the more it costs. It's that simple. But they don't want to. They kind of shy away from all those things that they need to go ahead and talk about and bring before the public. That's why we're here. We're going around to the townships, the cities, letting you know exactly what's going on in the jail. As I said, I've been involved in this for over 20 years now. It was 90 and 92. I ran for county commissioner and it was brought up then at both times. Then in 2000, when they actually did put a millage on the ballot for a new jail, myself and my group fought. Maybe you remember big red signs around town saying huge tax increase, vote no. Well, that was myself and my group that put those up because we took a look at it and said, look, you've got 400 beds. You don't need any more space. You're all set with space now. Everything's fine with it. It might not be the prettiest looking building. It's old, and maybe it could stand some updates, but it's a jail. We're not trying to make it as nice as your township hall here. There should be an element of punishment to it. And if that means you have to go in an older building that isn't quite as nice to look at, well, maybe you're going to think twice before you go back. So they have done one thing. They've earmarked $8 million for it. Now, $8 million will go a long way to rehabbing the present facility. And that's really all that needs to be done here. The other thing that needs to be done here is of the 400 prisoners that are in there right now, there's approximately half of them that haven't even been tried for anything. Now, we know that the people that commit armed robberies, attempted murder, things like that are going to have a high bond, and they're probably going to end up staying in there until the trial, and that they're probably going to go off to the Department of Corrections. But there's other people in there that aren't really a threat to the community at all, but the district court judges, for whatever reason, have saw to it that they're going to have a higher bond than normal. I was on the sheriff's website the other day just taking a quick look at it, and I saw people on there, and I just could tell by the look on their face and who they were that they're not necessarily a bad person. They might have made some dumb decisions, that's why they got themselves in jail, but they're not inherently a bad person, and they should really be out on the streets pending their trial. It's not fair to keep that many people, 50% of them, locked up prior to their trial. So that would be one way to go ahead and take care of the supposed overcrowding problem. Keep in mind, before you can have a solution, you have to have a problem. And what they're telling the public is, look, we have this problem, and I'm here to tell you don't have a problem. You just want to build a jail. One of the other things that has been talked about is that Muskegon County does not have a drug court, meaning a drug judge. Now, it doesn't mean the judge sits up on the bench and pops pills all day. It just means that this particular judge is going to be kind of like, I don't want to say center his practice around drug cases, but essentially there's an intensive effort to go ahead and focus on diversionary programs rather than sending people to jail and prison. They've done that in the district court. They call it the sobriety court, where the people have a little bit of a drinking problem. That's been pretty successful. So instead of getting people in jail and keeping them in jail, we now get them sobered up so they stay out of jail, period. I think that makes a lot more sense. I'm looking at this from the standpoint of who's a threat to the community, clear and present danger. We always want to make sure we have a bed available for them. But I'm also taking a look at it from the point of people that are not threatening to the community. And when I take a look at the sheriff's website and see some of the people that are in there, I'm wondering, how did this person get sentenced to jail for this? I'm not threatened by somebody that didn't pay child support. And I know that if they're in jail for not paying child support, either A, they don't have a job, or if they do have a job, probably not going to have them when they get out. So now when they get out, they're going to be able to go to the court and say, Your Honor, I have to have my child support reduced because I don't have a job anymore. So the very thing you're trying to encourage to pay child support, and hopefully it's more rather than less, now you've gone ahead and you just, any logic there is completely thrown out the window. So these are the types of people that are sitting in jail right now. They're not a threat to any of us. They're just being punished because of some statutory law. And there's other ways to punish them. A fine is appropriate. Probation is appropriate. There's a lot of other different diversionary tactics that actually work. But when you're trying to go ahead and formulate a problem, you go ahead and keep the jail filled up whichever way you can. By keeping it filled up whichever way you can go to the public and say, look, we've had this overcrowding in this jail all year. We're at 411 prisoners in here. It's only rated for 378. We've got to do all these early releases. Yeah, that's right. If you go ahead and you formulate a problem in such a fashion, you're going to go ahead and have to do that. It's kind of like if you've got a house, you don't put a roof on it, you don't keep the electrical up to date, you don't fix the plumbing, well, all of a sudden you're going to have a problem with it. And that's what they have with the Preston County Jail because they haven't kept it up. We have a website that goes into a lot more detail, I can tell you tonight. It's derailthejail.org. And it goes into quite a bit of detail about the history of the jail, the background, and things like that. And as I said, I've been following this issue ever since I first ran for county commissioner in 1990. And this is something where the Muskegon County taxpayers shouldn't be saddled with this because the ultimate effect to you is you know what you rely on for county services. And if they have to go ahead and tighten their belt downtown, guess who's not going to get the services that you're accustomed to? It's going to be the outlying townships. So, thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight.
Thank you.
My name's Dan Mills, 1817 Mills Avenue, actually. Anyway, I don't want to waste your time by talking about something that's already been addressed, but I do want to talk a little bit more about this jail proposal, this plan that's being implemented by the county. I'll let you know, first of all, that the people, and I know quite a number of people, and the people who I've talked with are opposed to this jail expansion plan really for three different general reasons. But everybody pretty much is opposed to it, except for there's a small number of people who are holding out hope that a new jail will mean improved care, improved facility, improved programming for the inmates. But that's inconsistent with national trends. It's inconsistent with what's going on right now and what has been going on in Muskegon. And so to believe that is wishful thinking. Anyway, the three reasons that I'm talking about, people express opposition because of the money that it's going to cost the citizens in the county. They also opposed for human rights issues. Now, Matt mentioned the DerailTheJail.org website. We have a lot more than just facts and figures. We have videos. You see, it isn't easy to get information like from these meetings in the county and to know what's going on. It isn't well reported in the Chronicle, and there aren't cameras in there, so we need to bring cameras in. And that's very difficult to do because these meetings are scheduled often in the early afternoon on working days, and so I have to take a day off of work or something in the afternoon. And then they reschedule these meetings and change the meeting times, and they'll do this. I couldn't tell you what a difficult time we have in attending these meetings. And so we do that, and then we put those videos online so that people can see what's going on. Anyway, there's a group that's really opposed to this jail expansion based on human rights violations. Now, one of these videos, especially when I'm thinking about, there was a meeting of the Citizens Review Committee, that's what it was called, Citizens Review Committee. The chairperson of this committee went on at length about how horrible, and that's her word, horrible, the present jail is. She said, and I'm quoting, that she would bring a Pomeranian into the jail, it's that bad. And she said it's in violation of codes. She said it's in violation of ethics, it's in violation of human rights, the way it is right now. And this she was using actually as justification for a new, bigger jail. Now, like Matt was saying, if you're neglecting your property now, why would we trust you with a bigger one? Because it's going to be mismanaged equally. And so, anyway, human rights issues is another reason why people oppose the jail expansion plan. The reason I oppose it is because I promote democracy, and I really do have strong feelings for democracy. I know that's old-fashioned. These days, the United States stands for capitalism. Actually, I think more and more laissez-faire, cutthroat capitalism. And you can bet that a small number of people are going to make a lot of money off this new jail. And it will be probably the way things have been going. Just recently, the county laid off a bunch more workers and gave the administrator 15% pay increase. This is the way things go. And so that's what we can expect. The new jail, and Matt was talking about 1,000 beds. Now, the county administrator, you can see on one of these videos, makes it very clear that the rationale, all she talks about is money, 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 money. She said savings, savings, savings. And I asked, are we looking to satisfy current demand, or are we looking to increase market share? That's what they call it. And she said, this is going to be, we're looking for partnerships, regional partnerships, and statewide partnerships. And so they're talking about bringing inmates from all over the state and housing them here for profit to increase revenue. And that's what she said, it's a revenue generator. Now that's a poor reason to lock people away, is to make money. But that's the rationale for this, and that's the only rationale that was expressed. As you can watch that video, that's all she talks about. Until somebody else brings up questions like, why are they in here? That has never been answered. So anyway, these new jails, like this new partnership plan, you can see on a video, it hasn't been uploaded yet to this shred, this 4-day meeting that I was talking about. There's a person I know on the health department who are using building blocks to try to arrange the new facility and how they might like to have it presented, and how they might want to have it constructed. Give people a sense that they're owning this thing too. And so this health department worker said, where is the part where the families meet the inmates? And they said to her, this is on the video, knock it off. We had a compromise, and that is out. There will be no more discussion about that. And so this is the way it's going to be done. They're bringing in inmates from all over the state. They're going to put them in cells that are stacked 3 high. There will be no place to visit with family. Even though these are just probably kids from around the state, there will be no place to visit with their attorney. There will be no place to talk to the judge. It will all be on flat screen. This is the plan. And it's like everything else. We'll get the cost down to 0 if we can. It's just a big chicken coop and we'll lay eggs so we can make money off of it. Now, it used to be, I'm telling you this, you might say it's a county issue. Why aren't you at the county? I gotta tell you, in a democracy, people, we have the power and the authority only if we exercise our responsibility. Our civic duty is to become informed and to take action on what we learn. And it isn't easy anymore to become informed. It used to be. When I was a kid, we had competitive news media. We had a Chronicle that was competing, and not only that, the Chronicle was in competition, but even the employees of the Chronicle were competing with each other to scoop each other, get the news, get the real story. It's nothing, you see it now, it's nothing but a marketing tool and propaganda tool. And so you can't just read the newspaper or turn on the TV and know what's going on. And so that's why we're asking you, please, it's a civic duty to become informed and take action. I'm asking you to please ask questions. Visit the site, talk about it to your friends. You're connected. I know you're well connected. Ask and find out what's going on. That's what I'm asking you to do, please.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.